so much for joining me today. I'm Ambrosia Carey, and I am a hairstylist, salon owner, and educator. Welcome to Portland, Oregon. We're in my salon right now, and we're gonna start taking care of my client. But first, I'm gonna show you a couple of different options with flat irons. I can attest to this. I do not usually love a flat iron. In the past, I would just typically go for a curling iron, and I did a poll recently, and it sounds like we're about half and half in our industry. So I'm gonna show you a couple tips that have helped me in navigating with a flat iron to make it easier, and then hopefully I can pass that knowledge on to you so you can do this behind the chair with your client. So come with me. We have a ceramic ionic flat iron. This is for medium to fine hair. It has a groove for putting our thumb into it. It has a locking mechanism for when you want to pack it. And it actually starts you out with a 365 temperature, and then you can move it up and down from there. It has a floating plates, which makes it really easy for smoothing or turning the hair without snagging it. And then we're gonna move into the titanium ionic flat iron. This one is for coarser hair texture. It gets up to 455 degrees of heat. Same thing, locking mechanism with unlocking. It has a thumb indentation to make it easier for gripping and holding onto. It has these nice floating plates through here, and they're grooved on the side, so it makes it really easy for getting nice and tight into the root area and for turning when you're trying to create shapes, which I'm gonna show you in a little bit. These eye detangling brushes are the bomb. I stand behind these. I use these all the time. And we're actually gonna use one of my favorite clips. It's the double prong petite clip, and it actually has two different prongs. So that way I can do one section and do a subsection with it. So I'll show you how that works in a second. And we have this cute, adorable travel flat iron. It has the same features as the ceramic ionic. It gets 430 degrees of heat, and it has this limited edition eye detangle flat black brush as well. So this is my beautiful model, Raina. And as you can see, she has that coarser hair texture. She's got combo wave and straight, and she's also chemically treated. So I want to make sure that I prepped her with everything that I need. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with using the titanium ionic. So when I turn it on, like I mentioned before, it starts you out at 365. I'm gonna bump it up to 400 degrees. And I put some heat protection on it already. I'm gonna subsection her by using my eye detangle brush, the medium to thick. And I'm gonna go ahead and create horizontal shaped sections just like this. So I'm gonna get one section out of the way with my double prong clips. I'm gonna use the bottom section of the clip here, and I'm gonna clip that into place and use the second portion of that clip to get that out of the way. Now I'm gonna take the section underneath, and I'm taking about a 2-inch section here. So starting my section sideways, I'm actually gonna twist it in toward the head. I'm gonna wrap the hair around it. And what I've learned is that you actually want to go nice and light. Can you see that space that's between the flat iron and the hair? And I'm gonna release the hair before I go all the way down, just so that I get a nice coil toward the end. What I'm gonna do this time is I'm still gonna glide, twist, and pull down slightly, but I'm gonna release the tension as I get to the last part of the hair. So I'm gonna go like this. Go in and twist, pull it down. I have about 1/4 of that hair left, and I'm gonna release that hair and just go straight and twist it. And so see how it gives it just a little bit of a bend in the middle, and it's straight at the ends. So the reason why I like using a flat iron is because I can have variation in the way that that curl pattern falls. So you'll see this once I finish this last section. And maybe the stuff around the face, I'm gonna go ahead and choose to make this a looser wave. So I'm gonna go in from the root, twist, bring it down, release, and I'm gonna let that go through there. And then the one behind it, I might go in with a tighter curl. So I'm gonna twist it higher up in the top, and I'm gonna follow all the way down through the bottom. And then I'm just gonna release it at the very end. So now you can see that she's got lots of variation within those curls. I'm gonna show you something a little different that we can do here. So I'm gonna take one section underneath the bottom part of the double clip, her second section, the top part of the clip, and now I have her underneath piece to work with. I'm gonna go ahead and brush that out with my Olivia Garden eye detangle brush. And then This time I'm actually gonna pull horizontally. So I'm gonna pull out, twist it down, and now reverse it. Twist it up. So all you're doing is teeter-tottering your flat iron back and forth. What this is gonna do is it's just going to give it a little bit more of a boho kind of tousled style. So when I drop that piece down, you can see that she's got a flatter ribbon wave happening throughout the hair. So this gives a little bit of variation. What I like about doing this is that if I have a side that's thicker and heavier, I can use the flat ribbon curl on the underneath part, and then I can balance out the top, so that way from side to side you don't have like a really thick heavy side and then you have a flat side. So I might go with the underneath doing that technique, and then this side I'll go ahead and start in with my ribbon technique. So on this side here I'm going to go ahead and twist it, and I'm going to work my way down. Give it a little bit of release toward the end and let it go. And then after this, I'm actually going to show you another technique that's really fun to use to add as a variation if you don't want the same pattern happening throughout the rest of the hair. So see how beautifully that curls for you? And one pass through, so nice and steady, but I don't have to go too slow. And remember what I was saying, when you're going down the hair shaft, just make sure that you're not pinching this. Like, this is the one thing that I used to do on my own hair, is I would pull too tightly on it, and then I would find myself really just seeing like inconsistent curl, or it wasn't curling at all for me. So the key is to go nice and light, and you want to see some air through those two plates. Okay, so this guy, I'm going to actually show you a different pattern. So this one right here, this gives you another flat ribbon curl, but it actually, instead of going up and down, it goes side to side. So what you do is you get the hair nestled into your flat iron and you start pulling the opposite direction, and just give it a little bit of a tap. As you get into the round, you do the same on the opposite side. So you start pulling the hair, well, you're actually pushing the hair. So you want to push the hair toward the flat iron as you're rounding it. So as you keep rounding that corner, you just push the hair the opposite direction. Right hair, I'm holding the flat iron with my right hand, and I'm guiding the hair through with my left hand. And then I'm just gonna go all the way through. So you can see that really beautiful ribbon that kind of happens. Again, it's kind of pushed to the side flat. It gives you more of that Hollywood glam look, rather than it going like this, where it's more of a bohemian look. And in the front, I still want to have some consistency with what I've been doing before. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my very first curl, which is my vertical slide curl. So I'm going to just twist it away from the face and twist it down and release. So that gives her a nice little ribbon throughout. Now once I put some finishing product in there, you can kind of see a little bit more of that texture that's happening through the hair. But so far it's looking really pretty. All right, now we're gonna go through the back side of the hair. And I'm gonna take in horizontal sections. With each horizontal section, I'm actually gonna create a vertical subsection. And one of the other things that I've learned with doing this type of curl is that less is more. So we actually don't have to take a really small section. I find that it looks better if you actually take larger sections. So I'm going to just split this in half through here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into my very first curl as I did before, which is my vertical section. So I'm going to start in vertically, give it a twist, nice and slow. Don't clamp down too hard, and release that. Look at that nice little ribbon that it creates. Make sure you stick with me to the end, because I have another little trick to show you on hair that's actually a finer texture. So I'm going to show you a little trick on how to get more volume out of hair. So you can see once you get in the flow of things, how quickly you can get this done. And when you're showing your clients, typically what I'll have them do is I'll have them hold their section and try a section out for themselves. And one of the key phrases that I tell them is to make sure that they go nice and slow, pull it vertically, twist the hair around the back of it. And the second way is you have it pointed down. Typically, if somebody's doing it on themselves, it's easier if they point it down, or you're working with gravity. So when you're working with gravity, it's easier to slide that hair. See how the hair just moves with the flat iron? As opposed to going the opposite direction where it's pointed up. If it's pointed up, you want to start the section lower down in the flat iron. Because as you're pulling it down, see how the hair wants to move up the flat iron? There we go. Whereas with this one, if you point it down and wrap it, as you're moving down the strand, it moves with it because gravity's helping you. So slow and steady, just taking nice even sections, and even through the middle if you want to switch it up, if you're looking for variation in your curl, it's fun to do that too. Through the middle section that I want to grab a couple of pieces here and just get some variation with doing my horizontal pieces here. I don't know what to call this. My horizontal boho style, I should say. So just through this middle section, I'm gonna go in with that horizontal boho style to switch it up, give a little bit more texture and variation. Just teeter-tottering that flat iron back and forth, slow and steady, all the way through the bottom. This works out really nicely for someone who has like completely straight hair texture, especially for Asians. It really helps with just giving some variation within that texture without making it look too curly. It's also a really great way to prep hair before you do an updo if you're not looking for a really curly texture for your updo, but you just want some good grip and texture to play around with. It just gives you variation within that hair. So for those of you styling in the salon, you don't necessarily have to wrap the section all the way around the flat iron like I was showing you. This is just a nice tip to show your clients who have a hard time with getting that tension that they need or the direction. So you can actually go in sideways and completely release the ends of the hair and follow suit all the way to the ends, and then just drop that down to give you a nice soft flow. The other little pro tip is that I like to use my finger to cool the section down when I'm done. So I know it seems like very obvious to do, but it does make a big difference when it is cooling. So I'm gonna grab that curl and I'm just gonna curl it with my finger and release it. All right, now I'm on my very last section through here. And another little pro tip when you get to the top, I think it's really important to give higher elevation. So with every section that you take, when I say higher elevation, what I mean is starting your section up higher on the head. So rather than me pulling this down, I want to hold this up in the air and I want to start her curl up higher. So see how I'm off the head and I'm taking it up in the air. Typically what I'd like to do is I like to turn the flat iron always toward the back of the hair. But if you have finer hair texture, another quick tip is to alternate the way that you're turning the flat iron, so that will give max volume. So what I mean by that is I would want to turn one section this way, the second section this way, the third section the opposite way, so on and so forth throughout the whole head, and that's going to give you a little bit more lift and variation within that curl texture. And here is my last section, just like that, and I just release it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just put a quick texture spray in, and I'm gonna give it a little tussle. All right, now that we completed Raina's awesome, beautiful, beachy look, looking like a Victoria's Secret model over here, I'm gonna show you actually how you can get a little bit more oomph through here. And remember what I was saying like just before, when you have a client that has really fine texture or something and you're just looking to get like that little extra boost, this is the reason why I like the Olivia Garden flat iron, because you have those rounded edges, it's nice and sleek, and it has those floating plates, so it makes it really easy to go in and get that volume. So really quickly, I'm just gonna actually pick up my finer brush. So this is the fine to medium detangle brush. I'm gonna pick that section up very loosely. I'm gonna get my flat iron in there, and I'm gonna go right at the base, and I'm gonna give it a little twist. Just like so. I'm pulling a little bit tighter, and then I'm gonna release out. So as I release out, I open up my flat iron. So I'll do this again for you. So I'm gonna go into that section, I'm popping it up with my Olivia Garden detangle brush. I'm grabbing that section through there. And the reason why I'm using the Olivia Garden detangle brush is because all I want to do is get a random section. I don't want it to be too perfect. So see how I went in tightly through the root area, and I released it as I exited the head about that 2-inch mark out. So twist in sideways, pull, release as you're pulling out, and then it gives you that little bit of extra oomph. So when I go in to release those curls, you can see how she's now balanced from side to side, right? This was the shallow side where it was a little flatter. This gives her more volume through the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this all the way around the head. And I'm gonna do it in the same fashion that I was doing the curls before. As I get to the back, I start to turn my flat iron so that it goes away from the face. Pinch down, release that flat iron out of the head as you're exiting. Now as I'm rounding the head, I'm just still picking up a piece with my detangle brush, and I'm gonna twist the opposite direction. I'm gonna twist in and I release out. That second technique I like to use on like day 2 or 3 if you're a person that doesn't wash your hair every day. So this is a really great tip to show your clients who don't necessarily wash their hair every day and they have like that second day flat bed head. So you can just get a little bit of like oomph through there by using that. But a couple more features about the flat iron that I forgot to mention is that it's dual voltage. So it actually is compatible worldwide. It has a 10-foot cord and it has a safety mechanism in it, so it shuts off after 30 minutes of not using it. My model is actually saying that she always forgets to turn off her flat iron, and that's going to be really scary.
Or I think I forget to turn it off.
Yeah, and then you get to your work and you're like, did I do it? Did I not do it? Yes. So that's a really important safety feature to know about. And of course, she was even mentioning the kind of glide and grip that it has in her hair, that it's not pulling like her flat iron does at home. So she was really impressed by it.
I was.
And she really loved the detangle brush because she's like, wow, this thing is like magic.
I thought I had a detangler brush, but I don't. Not like that.
And thank you to my beautiful model, Raina. I love you.
I love you.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you got a lot out of it. And please start sharing with your clients and start using this in your salon. Thank you so much.